Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let us take you to Japan now. Who would have thought that disaster 2011 could have happened in Japan? One of the champion states in disaster risk reduction. 18,000 people dead or missing, 400,000 people displaced. These 2 years have been a struggle for all of us, but struggle with the learning. Today, we would like to give you the snapshot of those learning that we have learned through response to Great Eastern Earthquake in Japan. Let's hit the video. Sitting right, left-hand side is Mr. Yamamoto from Peace Boat. Right-hand side is Mr. Tajima from Japan NGO Network for International Cooperation.
The greatest earthquake caused a massive tsunami, killing more than 17,000 people. This shocked everyone in Japan and many abroad. However, at the same time, a more concerning accident had just begun. An explosion erupted at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, located just 180 kilometers away from the epicenter of the earthquake. Radioactive materials are accumulated in the body when people continue to eat contaminated food. The issue has also badly affected farmers who produce food. The situation seems hopeless, not only for dairy farmers, but also for those who grow crops. Agricultural products are refused at the markets due to rumors regardless of whether the products are grown on contaminated or uncontaminated lands.
ほとんど20ベクレル以下が 95% 以上なんですよ、お米のこれ、玄米ね。だから基準値を超えた500超えたってのは新聞で大きく報道されています。本当それは 0. 何%の話であって、ほとんどこれなんですよ。
Radiation has affected not only the human body, but also the society, including companies, schools, and families.
タブーですとね、放射能って口にするだけでまだ言ってんのみたいな家の中でも言えませんでした。
This is not an issue facing only Fukushima. There are 54 nuclear power plants in Japan. In front of Fukushima Station. Here, messages from the children of Fukushima are displayed.
Now, the question is, what do we learn from people from Fukushima? Now, Mr. Tajima is now going to take us through what we can learn, a snapshot.
Good morning, everyone. As you saw, we have experienced multiple disaster and unique disaster, which is nuclear power plant blow up. And I think we feel very much obliged to share you folks our experience, very unique experience that might happen in somewhere in the world. Those of you who haven't picked up GNDR recommendation, please do so. There are plenty of the brochure left in the booth in marketplace. And we also produced our own recommendation based on GNDR's recommendation. But okay. I'll limit my presentation to recommendation number 2 and 4. So, vulnerability and human rights. GNDR's recommendation sets vulnerable people stress the importance of proper strategy. I think this is our highest priority. But when things comes to nuclear power disaster, who do you think the vulnerable? Everyone. And particularly those who are marginalized to have a power plant to begin with. In Japanese case, this case, people in Fukushima. So this is also the human rights issues for those who are marginalized and ill-informed. People in Fukushima were not very much informed about the risk of nuclear power plant before the incident happens because of the miss of the technology, miss of the safety, and they were not very informed during and after the incidents as well. Even today, as of today, there are over 160,000 internally displaced population in Japan. And this is not, we are not talking about some developing countries in Japan. And they are not well informed, and the state is responsible to take care of those people. But because of lack of contingency plan against nuclear power disaster or insufficient contingency plan, people are at a loss. That's where our civil society comes in to support and work with people in Fukushima. So they are not very informed, prepared, and they were not in the part of decision-making process from the beginning and even now. So disaster, this kind of disaster can make ordinary population, ordinary people very much vulnerable. So as the video showed you, there are over 440 power plants, and the concerning fact is there will be more nuclear power plants in developing countries as well. Okay.
Now, the other factor from our experience in Japan, Great Eastern Earthquake, is the role of volunteers, how they play the role, critical role, in disaster management. And Peace Boat is going to talk to you about this snapshot of that learning.
Somewhere in the freezing wind, it reaches the sky so blue. Quietly, someone whispers to the sky, are you well? Are you okay? On the TV screen, wreckage rubble everywhere. They grab and shake my heart and soul. Shut the scenery.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Takashi Yamamoto. I am the president of the Peace Boat Disaster Volunteer Center. During the Great Eastern Japan earthquake, in Japan, we had 1,239,600 volunteers went to the disaster area. This is huge. At this time, we really should understand the volunteers could help, could do a lot of things for the disaster area. But they did a lot of things like magic cleanings like this, and hot food distributions and relief distributions, and now they are working with the local community. But on the other hand, we had several difficulties for the volunteers. For example, when the disaster happens, thousands of the Japanese people, not only Japanese people, also the international people try to go to the disaster place. But because of the lack of the information, or because of the lack of the coordination, and also fears of the radiations, a lot of the volunteers couldn't go to the places. And we realized we should make the pre-arrangement and pre-agreement for the volunteers in order to do the emergency rescues and the well-worked volunteer jobs in the disaster places. I think the volunteers can do a lot of things, but on the other hand, still, it is not clear what is the role of the volunteers. I think in order to make power of the volunteer stronger, we should strengthen the strategic roles of the community and volunteers in all phases of DRR. And the second thing, what we have learned is that in Japan, the local community, especially in the countryside, the local community is very strong. Some of the statistics said 80% of the people saved are rescued by the neighborhood people. That kind of neighborhood councils prepared a lot. But on the other hand, after the rescue times, the local people faced very difficulties because of the lack of human resources and because of the everything. Then the volunteers went to help them. But on the other hand, it is mass. I mean, no control, no arrangement. I think that, of course, the role of the volunteer has to be stronger, has to become stronger. But on the other hand, we should think receiving assistance capacity of external assistant is also has to be strong. I believe the power of the volunteers and organizations of the volunteers can be better and can work more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, this was just a snapshot of our learning, and we are obliged, we feel committed to share with you more. Now, this evening, we have an event at IKVA. We have 2-hour slot. We have an organic farmer from Fukushima Prefecture. These guys will be speaking also from their heart and from their experience. If you have time today, please come to IKVA at 5:30, which is only 5 minutes away from here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.